What's up, YouTube? It is your boy JB, and we are here today with a review. Actually, we'll do Power Book 3, Raising Kanan first, and then we'll go and do Love and Marriage Huntsville, because I just finished Power Book 3. So this Power Book 3, Raising Kanan, Season 1. Why did I say Season 10? It's Season 1, Episode 10. The episode was titled Paid in Full, and it's also the season finale. So we are done with the Power Book for now. We are done until we come back. I think Power Book 2 Ghost returns on November 21st, and then Power Book 4, which is Force, which is Tommy's segment, Tommy's show, that is coming to us early 2022. So yeah, we're done with Power Book until November, which is right around the corner. So before we get into this review, if you guys are watching this video or any other on the channel and are not already subscribed to the channel, then I'm gonna need you guys to do me a big favor and hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell button, hit the like button, share the video, you guys. Do me that big favor. And with that out of the way, you guys, without further ado, let us discuss Power Book 3, Raising Kanan, Season 1, Episode 10, the season finale, shall we? Alright, you guys, so this episode, we picked up where we left off last week. Now, you know, in last week's episode, we thought that Kanan had killed Howard, which I just finally found out what his name is. It's Malcolm. Because I had the closed captioning on when the episode started, and Malcolm was the one narrating, so his name is Malcolm. Malcolm Howard. So, Malcolm Howard. I'm going to still call him Howard. So, remember, like I said, we thought Kanan, you know, 2 to the chest, 2 where he breathes, breathes from, and 1 where he used to think from. Well, Kanan unfortunately did not do that. Kanan fucked that up. I'm like, well, damn, Kanan, how did you mess it up? So Kanan took off running, and I noticed that at one point his hands were bleeding. So I'm like, what did you do to make your hands bleed? And then we also noticed that Sam, the crackhead who gave up little Rob, also noticed Kanan, but Rob, Sam was smoking his crack rock at that time too as well. So Sam was really most focused on that crack. So then we see Kanan, he ran to this payphone. I'm like, wow. I wonder where did they find that payphone at, for real. Because I don't even see payphones in this day, and I don't see payphones anymore. I do see like the stands where the payphones used to be, but I don't actually see payphones themselves. So, oh, there's a little squirrel running by my car. Where we at? So yeah, he was supposed to be meeting up with Marvin, but Marvin didn't show up. He's actually Scrappy met him, right? So he still has that jacket on. Mind you, that jacket is covered in blood. So then we see Scrappy and Kanan. They're driving through the city, right? And the cops are, just swarming all over, right? And, they do eventually meet up with Marvin. And, he basically tells them, you guys got to get off the streets, right? Like, get off these streets because the streets are hot because, a cop just got popped. And he's like, wait, you little nigga, you popped the cop? Yep, he did. So they're driving, right? But also what they noticed was that they ran into a gridlock. So they're shutting the city down, which, you can't shoot a cop and think that they're not going to shut the entire city down. The cops shut the city down, and now they've got to figure out what to do, right? So Scrap went to a payphone, made a phone call, right? So then we see them, they pull up over to Lou's house, and Rock meets them there, right? So Rock, she's saying lay low, but Scrap is like, Rock, the kid was just in my car. If I get pulled over, we gotta scrub this clean. Like, you don't want me tangled up in this. So she was like, okay, Scrap, you go take care of your shit. Me and Kanan, we gonna go inside and he gonna get cleaned up, right? So they go inside, and Rock is asking Kanan, like, she asking him about the bag with the clothes and the money in it. He don't know where that is. She's asking him about, did he go by the bodega? He says yes. Then she says, like, okay, so tell me what happened with Howard. How many shots was it? He says 3. Well, maybe 2. She was like, 2 or 3, that's a big difference, Kanan. Which one is it? So he says he really doesn't know. Kanan, you know how many it was. It was only 2 shots. It was only 2 shots. So then we see Rock and Kanan, right? So they actually went to the bodega. Actually, let me back up just a little bit, right? Because I got to throw this scene in there. So remember, you guys, last week that Rock was at church with her mother. What is her mama's name? What is Joyce, right? So they were talking, and that's when Rock got a page, and she told her mama, you know, I'm gonna meet you up front. I don't know if she ever met Joyce up front or not, but hey, she told Joyce she was gonna meet her up front. So then Rock and Kanan, they went to the bodega, right? So they were talking to Juliana. So they're going over this plan with Juliana. So if the plan is to Juliana, if the cops come, tell them she saw the man, then don't be so eager to give them the camera footage. Make them work for it. Make them feel like they are doing something, right? So then Rock tells Kanan, you know, she puts him back there where they had the stash at. She tells him to stay there until Marvin comes. Marvin got some stuff to do and he'll get him out of town, right? So then we see Marvin. Marvin is at the hotel where Unique is staying at, right? So Marvin is doing everything he can to get upstairs. He's telling the guy that there's a gas leak, that he needs to get up there, check it out. And the guy's like, no one told me about that. He's like, well, if you ain't worried about it, you can sign off on it right here. And if somebody lights a match, you know, turns on their stove or whatever, and it blows up, that's on you, my dude. So the guy says, okay, go up there, right? So Marvin goes up to the door. He knocks on it. I'm like, oh crap, I'm feeling like this is a bad omen, right? So then he picks the lock and he goes in. So Rock paged him while he was in there, but he never responded to her page, right? So then Marvin has a bag. He takes the jacket with Unique's name on the back of it out of the bag and puts it in the closet, right? So then as he walks out the door, he hears the elevator ding, and then it's Unique and his girlfriend, whose name we're gonna call her Nessa, because that's what he called her at the end of the episode. Nessa. They get off the elevator, and we're gonna talk about Nick and Nessa in a little bit more detail, right? So then we also saw Marvin, right? So Marvin, like I told you guys, the cops have barricaded everything, so there's no way in or out, basically, right? So Marvin pulls up to where the cops are, right? So they come up to the car, they ask him for his driver's license, his license and registration, right? So he provides them with his license and his registration, and they ask him, like, you know, what are you doing out so late, right? He says, oh, I was just coming from a friend from uptown, right? So then the cop comes back to the car with his guns drawn. I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, I felt triggered. I'm like, this is triggering right here. Like, this is a black man, and you got all these white cops with the guns pointed on him. I'm like, Marvin, don't make any sudden moves, nigga. So they arrest him because they said that they had an outstanding warrant for him for possession to intent, you know, for possession and and him with the possession and intent, right? I can't remember all that they said, but I know it was for possession of drugs and for him to, you know, distribute the drugs, right? So they arrest him. I'm gonna pause here because I'm getting a little long-winded, and we're gonna move forward. All right, you guys. So Rock, at this point, Rock is moving everything, right? Because I noticed at the bodega, I'm like, wait a minute, the bodega. So you did this near the bodega, and I realized when Kanan was in, I'm like, the back of it looks very empty, and the reason why it was empty is because Rock is now moving everything from the bodega to the projects, right? You guys remember in the projects, her plan with the two apartments, the one on top and the one on bottom. You know, that way, you know, when the cops come, check that apartment, there's nothing in there. Then when they come upstairs, all they have to do is just throw it down the chute and be good, right? So that's what she's doing. She's moving everything from the projects, from the bodega to the projects. So let's talk about Jessica and Fame, right? And Lou. We're gonna mix them in. So we see Jessica and Fame, they pull up to the hospital, right? And as they pull up to the hospital, that's when Howard is being, you know, rushed to the hospital as well. So then we also saw as the cops were talking to Sam, asking Sam, what did he know? Sam is high as a June bug, so he can't really, he's telling them what he knows. But he's like, I'm high, so I really don't know what I'm talking about, right? So then we see Lou. He's in his room and he's looking down and he can see the cops, right? So then Jessica and Fame come in there and they tell him that Detective Howard got shot. He's like, what the fuck? So Lou tells them, you know what, I got to get to my sister, right? And he's trying to leave. And Jessica's like, I don't think you should be leaving. They said you need to stay here because you're still in bad condition. But Lou was like, fuck that. And ended up leaving, right? So they're going to head to the park where everything happened at, right? So while they're heading down to the park, there's a car next to them, and Fame was like, oh shit, that's my song. I'm like, Fame, shut up. And just like, yeah, don't you hear? I'm like, Jessica, you and Fame can both shut up at this point, right? So then they pull up to the park, and the park is surrounded by cops at this point. So then Lou gets out, and there's one of their guys that's working with them. He asks the question of where's Rock, and he says she's on 8. So that means she's on the top apartment, right? Also, you guys, I forgot something last week. Well, nah, I left that in the comment section. So I'm not gonna discuss it. Okay, where we at? So yeah. So Rock is upstairs in the project, in the apartments, right? And she's telling the guys what the plans are, right? So then Lou comes in and asks her, have you lost your fucking mind? Honestly, Lou, I believe she has. I really has. He asked to Howard, why would you do some shit like that, Rock? Like, was it Marvin that did it? You're like, I need to know these answers. And she's like, no, it wasn't Marvin, it was Kanan. He was like, your only son, Rock? I'm like, exactly. You had your son try to take out his father. This ain't gonna end. I'm really ready for season 2. Like, I just don't see how this is gonna be an interesting thing, especially once we get to the end. It's gonna be very interesting. So Lou tells her basically that he's done with this life. He can't do this shit anymore. So Rock, as much as I love Rock, as much as I do love Rock, and I say to you guys all the time, I love me some Rock. But Rock is very selfish, right? Rock, in this scene with Rock and with Lou, it very much gives me Tasha and Ghost vibes, right? Because you guys remember, was it season 1 that Ghost wanted out of the drug business, but Tasha's like, we not getting out, right? Well, that's basically what she's saying to him, right? You not getting out of this shit. Like, you not. We family, and I'm not letting you out. And then she also says, that label, the recording studio that you got, how's it paid for? It's paid for with this dirty money. So I own some of that. I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, damn, Rock. Like, I get where Rock is coming from, that he can't really go legit because the money that he's put into the label is dirty money. So I got that. I got what she was saying right there, right? If you want to go legit, do it on you. If you want to go legit, go legit. But how can you actually go legit when all the money that you are funneling into this record label is dirty money? So I got Rock's point of view from that. I got her point of view, but I'm like, damn, Rock, you fucked up. Still love my girl, but you fucked up for that one, sis. So one of the guys called her from downstairs to tell them that the cops had already finished searching them, right? So they go up, so they're upstairs, and what they're doing now is they're moving all the shit from one apartment to from the next, basically through the stove. I'm like, that's clever. I mean, it's actually clever. You put a big ass hole in the floor and you covered it with the stove. So all you got to do is just take, that must not have been a gas stove. Because I mean, unless they took the bottom part out, unless they took the oven part, well, they did. They maneuvered that stove so well, because I just thought about it. So yeah, they searching, right? So the cops come up there. She's pretending to be cooking dinner. They like, you cooking dinner pretty late at night, right? She's like, oh, my boys, they get hungry. And she's like, but you searching my place and it's pretty late at night as well. I'm like, hey, touche. So the one cop asked, what's wrong with Lulu? She says he got in a car accident. I'm like, girl, that was a hell of a car accident, wasn't it? So then Jessica and Rock, so Jessica is downstairs, and Lou goes down, and Lou is in the car with her, and she's telling him like, Lou, you got to get out of this shit with Rock. Like, either you gonna end up like with your sister, either in jail or dead. Jessica, what I want you to do is like Lou told you, shut the fuck up and drive. I really just don't like Jessica. It's just something about Jessica. I don't see it for her. I know people are comparing her to Angela. No, people are comparing, what's her name, to Angela, right? Oh, girl, Burke. But Jessica ain't no better. I just don't, Jessica, gotta go. I don't like her. Or her brother. I'm glad that in this episode, Fame didn't use the word nigga, not once. I was happy about that. So, let's see, where we're gonna go now. So, let's talk about the bodega really quick, and then we're gonna move on. So the cops, they went to check out check the bodega out, right? And Juliana, she called Rock very frantic because Marvin never showed up to pick up Kanan. We're gonna get a little bit deeper into, I've already talked about why he didn't pick him up, but I'm gonna get a little bit deeper into the cops in just a minute. But Rock made a phone call to someone, and we're going to talk about that a little later as well. So let's move on. All right, you guys. So Burke showed up at the hospital, right? And she met she met a new guy that's on the force that's going to be helping out, right? His name is Louis. I forgot what his last name was, but his name is Louis. So he's taking over for the captain, right? And she's asking about Howard, and because he told her that Howard was alone at the park, and she's like, what? He says, he didn't tell you anything about that? She's like, he doesn't tell me shit. He says, well, you asked him the right questions. So he then tells her that he has his rare blood type AB, and then that he also has leukemia, right? So now what Burke wants to do is, Burke wants to go out and run the streets, right? Trying to see what she can find out. I'm like, I don't think you're going to find out very much, Burke. I think you're going to find out what Rock wants you to know. But hey, because she found out about Sam telling them, giving them little bits of information. Not a lot, just little bits. So then we see the cops out on the streets, and they just picking up anybody that's on the block. I mean, if you just went outside just to get something out your car, and you look like this, your ass getting picked up, right? So you hear people saying that they don't know shit, right? So then like I just said, they picking up anybody that's on the block, right? So Louis was in the room, and I guess in the waiting area, right? And a surgeon came up to him, telling him what all they got to do to Howard. I'm like, well, damn. If Howard makes it through this surgery, Howard's gonna be in a whole lot of pain. They're gonna have to take this, half of a lung, half of a kidney. They're gonna have to take half of everything. I'm like, well, damn. If the leukemia don't kill you, I'm pretty sure that surgery might kill you. But damn, you got a lot, buddy. You're gonna be fucked up, right? So then we see Burke. So Burke, she pulled up on Laverne, as she calls her, right? And she's asking Laverne, like, how did you know that the cops were being hunted? And Juke is like, well, I just heard from the streets, about Unique being upset about y'all, fucking up one of his re-ups, basically. And I just didn't want anything to happen to you, so you're welcome. I was like, ooh, Juke. Okay. The beginnings of a dirty cop in the making, huh? So then, Burke is asking her about Rock and Kanan, and she's like, my aunt Rock and Kanan have nothing to do with this, right? She's like, your aunt is a drug dealer. She says, my aunt sells hair. And she says, she asked her, where are they? She said, they're probably hiding out from you guys. I'm like, hey, she's smart. So then we see Burke and this cop. What is his name? Is his name Rodriguez or something like that? I don't forget what his name was. So they pulled up to the bodega, right? And they asked about the camera footage, right? And Juliana was going along with the plan, right? But the one cop that was with Burke, he noticed in the back. He noticed the back with all the door with all those goddamn locks on it. But they let it go, right? And they asked her about the video footage. So they came back eventually, right? So where do we want to go? I'm gonna wait on that one. So we're gonna stop here and we're gonna move forward. And then we're gonna stop here and we're gonna move forward. And we're gonna talk about Juke and Neek. So let's move forward, I think. Should I do that? Should I move forward? I think I should. Yeah, we're gonna move forward. All right, you guys. So after, Burke pulled up on Juke went over to the bodega where Kanan was, and she was dropping off the money and the clothes, right? And Kanan coming off all tough, like the interesting thing about the young man that plays Kanan, right? He actually kind of looked. I mean, I was looking the first time I saw him, I was like, damn, he literally puts you in a amount of 50 Cent, right? Literally puts you in a amount of 50. I'm like, is this 50, son? I'm like, can't be. And then the way he talks like 50. I'm like, okay. I'm like, I see you, right? You are channeling your inner 50. I'm here for it, right? So Kanan playing all tough guy, like, I had to take him out. He was coming after my family. And Juke was like, nigga, chill out. You are shook. Stop playing that hard shit with me, right? So she calls Kanan a dumbass boy and says that he fuck up everything that he touches. Jukebox, that is the thing that I've been saying since episode, I don't even know when. But I've been saying that all season, that if you think about it, if you just literally stop and think about everything that has happened this season, everything is really a domino effect to the stuff that Kanan has done. Like, everything that's happened is a domino effect. Scrap with his missing eye because of Kanan. Like, everything that's happened is a domino effect because Kanan thinks he knows so much, and Juke even said it's really scary, right? It is scary. And looking at Kanan, getting this backstory on Kanan, it makes a lot of sense about his role in the original Power. It makes a lot of sense about his role, right? With, why Ghost and Tommy had him do the shit that they had him do, right? Because Kanan, although Kanan is a very smart person, like, I'm not going to take that away from Kanan. Kanan is smart, but Kanan doesn't think things through logically. Like, Kanan doesn't have a plan A or a plan B, right? It's like he just doesn't think things through he doesn't think like, okay, if this happens, like, you have you have your plan and you want to follow your plan to a T, right? But then you also have to think in the moment, like, okay, what if just on an offset, what if something goes wrong with this plan? I gotta have a plan. I gotta have a backup plan. And then, what if something happens with that? You gotta have another backup. Especially in this business, you gotta have backup plans. You can't just go in. You can't go in just with the one plan thinking that's gonna work its way through without any kind of issues, right? That's Kanan's problem. But like I said, everything so far has been a fuck up that Kanan has done. Everything leads back to Kanan. Actually, honestly, everything leads back to Kanan shooting and killing Buck 20. All this shit leads back to Buck 20. All roads lead back to Buck 20. If Kanan and D Wiz, we don't know. Did we ever know which gun hit Buck 20? But whoever hit Buck 20, that's really where the shit got fucked up at, was with Buck 20. If you never had hit Buck 20, we'd be fine. If it was Buck 20, then it was the fucking drugs. Like, everything has led back to Kanan. Like, everything has been on Kanan, right? So you guys remember I told you earlier that, Marvin was supposed to pick him up from this bodega and get him out of town, right? Well, that never happened because Marvin got arrested, and, when Juliana called Rock frantic, Rock made a phone call. Well, the phone call she made was to Symphony. So Symphony came and picked him up. Now, you guys, I want to say this is not a spoiler because I don't know if this is true or not, right? But I did see this. I did see a video last week popped up on my Explore page on YouTube, right? And it's a theory that someone has, right, about who Symphony is, because we still don't know much about Symphony. At this point, I do believe we can trust Symphony. I think we can. I believe we can trust Symphony. I don't know. I don't believe that Symphony is a CI, but he could be, right? He could be a really good CI, right? But I did see a video where someone thinks that Symphony could be Breeze. You guys know Breeze from the original Power. Let me know what you guys think about that. Do you guys think that that could be a possibility? I don't know. I just saw that and I was like, I wonder. But I still do want to know a little bit more about Symphony, right? So Symphony and Kanan, they left. I think they went to Maryland, if I'm not with that. I think that's what that sign said. It was really dark, so I couldn't tell, but I think it said Maryland. So we're gonna move on and we're gonna wrap the episode up, you guys. All right, you guys. So let's talk about Neek real quick, right? So Warrell came back to Neek's place, right? And he's telling them that Howard got popped, right? And he got popped in the park. And Neek is like, damn, that's fucked up. Like, shooting a cop fucks up your business. So, word around the corner is that it was Unique that hit him, right? And Warrell told him that, right? So Neek was like, you know what? I want all my people off the streets at this point. Tell them to keep their head low and tell them don't say shit, because he put two and two together. He was like, that bitch Rock. I'm like, you're right about that. It is Rock, right? So then we see Neek as his girl Nessa. I think her name was Pernessa. That is a ghetto ass name, Pernessa. No shade to anybody who's named Pernessa, but that is just ghetto. So she's dropping off the baby. His name is Jerome. I'm like, oh, that's cute. His name is Jerome. So she's asking him questions. She's like, what did I tell you when we got together? She's like, don't ask him questions. She says, exactly. And you sweating me right now. I'm like, well, Nessa girl, I wouldn't press him, because Unique could take you out and he wouldn't give one iota of a fuck about that, right? So then we saw the Unique and Nessa as they were packing, right? So he went to the closet and he saw the jacket, right? Then he noticed the blood on the jacket. I'm like, Neek, when you saw that blood on that jacket, you should have threw that bitch somewhere. You should have figured out a way to get rid of that motherfucker quick, fast, and in a hurry. But he didn't. And then the cops came in and he's still holding the jacket. I'm like, well, shit, nigga, they got you at this point, right? And they arrested him. I'm like, well, Neek, let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think Neek is gonna go down for this shit? Like, let me know in the comment section. And then to end everything in the episode, right? So you guys remember, I told you Howard had to go through surgery. I said if the leukemia didn't take him out, I figured that all that surgery was gonna take him out. Well, he eventually woke up, right? And he woke up and Burke was in the room. So Burke went up to Howard, asked him who shot him. He didn't, if he said, we won't find out until season 2, because they left us with that one. So we don't know if he's going to say Kanan or if he's going to say Neek. What do you guys, let me know in the comment section, what do you guys think? Do you guys think he's going to say he knows? Well, I mean, he damn. Because he can't say Kanan shot him, right? Because that would have more questions on him. Why would Kanan shoot you, right? He can't even say Rock shot him. Because I was thinking he might say Rock, but he can't say Rock because, again, if you give up Rock or Kanan, at that point you have to show your hand and your cards, because you have to tell people why were you meeting alone with Rock and with Kanan, right? So you would have to tell them. And you could say, well, Unique, you could literally say, I don't even know what you could say about Unique, but I guess it could lead back to that whole re-up that was busted, right? But I feel like when it comes to rocking with Kanan, it's a rock in between a hard place, right? Because I just don't think that he can literally come out and say that. I know he's not going to say Kanan shot him, right? I do know for a fact he won't say Kanan. But I just don't believe he can say Rock either. I don't believe he can. Let me know what you guys think about it. Let me know what you guys are thinking in the comment section below, and we'll discuss it. So that's it, you guys. I'm off of here, and I'll see you guys later on for Real Housewives of Salt Lake City and Potomac. Now, Potomac is a supersized episode tonight, so it might be a longer review. But I'll see you guys later. And you guys stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves. Remember to wash your hands, wear a mask, socially distance. Be blessed, and I'm going to catch you guys later. Bye, guys.